fear. I mean, I can't imagine a time when someone like, Prince Philip would have said, oh, yeah, by the way, going into hospital with a prostate problem and us knowing these details. But do you think this is a sign of the times that the palace feels the need to tell us this information?
It absolutely is a sign of the times. It's a sign of where the palaces feel the relationship is with the media as well. When we look at this statement from the Princess of Wales, we do have a certain level of detail, but we don't know exactly what the abdominal surgery was.
And we have no damn right to know.
Exactly. And everybody in the world is entitled to their privacy, but she understands that there will be a certain level of interest because she is the Princess of Wales.
You can't, people are going to find out you're in hospital.
Exactly.
And you can't disappear from public life for 2 or 3 months without people going, wonder where Kate is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because the thing is, they were going to have to start cancelling royal events very, very soon. Mid-January is when the royals tend to get back to work after their Christmas break. So as soon as those events start being cancelled, there's a risk of a leak. Yeah. So they have to get ahead of the curve.
So this is quite good for PR management. I mean, and also lots of talk about why the King decided to talk about what his procedure is, which we probably wouldn't have needed to know much about.
No.
We could have just had a bit of a bug, couldn't we? We would know. But we understand from the palace that they felt that actually it would be a useful thing to talk about prostates, given how, and Philip Ingram, I've told you off about this, how rubbish you men are about going to the doctor.
And absolutely, that is true, sorry to say. And it's a good thing for him to raise awareness of a very common condition that affects, over half of men over the age of 50 in the UK. Like King Charles's condition, a lot of those men, the condition is benign. But those symptoms can mimic prostate cancer. And so it's great to raise awareness so people can go and get themselves checked.
Mostly men, by the way, for prostate. Mostly. Just checked with Keir Starmer. But no, I was told actually a stat that most men will die with a form of prostate cancer rather than die of it. And actually, but again, it's very important. You can be treated. Like most of these things, you get treated early, and that's an important thing. I've been questioning today, and I know a lot of people are disagreeing with me about why they have gone private. 7.5 million people on the waiting list for NHS care. It looks like certainly that Kate's operation was certainly pretty urgent by the sounds of the 2 weeks in hospital to recuperate and many months off suggests that would have been urgent. Otherwise, there are lots of people in this country who, depending on where you live, postcode lottery, will be waiting a long time to have some of this quite basic treatment. Say like the prostate treatment. And, I'm sorry, I don't think anyone's above me or below me. No problem with anyone having private health care at all. People spend their money how they want. But the reality is, if a politician went private at this time for any operation at all, they would be hauled over the stones. But the royals, we just say, oh, it's fine. Why have they gone private? Since they clapped for the NHS, they opened hospital wings. Do they not think the NHS is good enough for them?
I think it's about your own personal choice. If you want to use private healthcare and you can use private healthcare, I think that's absolutely up to you. I think there's also a security concern and issues here as well.
That's what Philip raised.
I think you could be right about that, absolutely, that they have to be given a certain level of privacy because of who they are. Because, I mean, especially with the King, he's still got to continue his constitutional function, even though he is going to be receiving treatment. The Princess of Wales obviously will not be doing that, but she definitely will want to have a certain level of privacy and security that the London clinic can afford her, and she can afford that. And I really think it's up to you. If you have the money and you want to do that,
which is what most of us, it is what most of us would do. I mean, that is the reality. No, I'm just wondering. I just think it's interesting that but Rishi Sunak is married to a billionaire. He can afford to do it too, and he would be entitled to privacy and entitled to and have the same security issues. He would not be given a free pass on this by the public or the media. Everyone will be saying, why aren't you using the NHS? But is that because, he's in charge of, funding the NHS and ultimately running the NHS? Do you think that's what it is, Philip?
I think there's a difference between political leaders who have control of the purse strings going into the NHS and your members of the royal family. And the other piece about the security is the disruption it would cause to hospitals day-to-day happening in them just because of the interest that would generate. And we also have to recognise that the Prince of Wales himself hasn't just clapped for the NHS, he's flown air ambulances delivering people to the NHS.
That was his job for quite a long time before he took on royal
It was,
duties.
but he didn't have to take that job.
No. Oh, no, they could be layabouts and do nothing. We know you
exactly.
could...
But he's contributed, so I don't think we should be critical of him at all.
I'm not being critical. I'm intrigued by the double standards when it comes to people who've got money and need security and privacy. But again, Kate's going to be out of public duties for a long time. And given that, most newspapers live on pictures of Kate constantly out doing public duties, a lot of pressure on the family because they're quite hands-on parents, aren't they? 3 young children. But also, there aren't that many royals to go around anymore. Harry and Meghan out of the picture. Of course, the loss of the Prince Philip and the Queen. Other royals are going to have to step up.
Definitely. You've got 3 of the foremost senior royals out of action for the next couple of weeks at least. So we're definitely going to see more of Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. She is the royal that notches up the most public working. Yeah, she is the hardest working royal, the most public engagements every year. So we'll definitely see her out on manoeuvres, as it were, and the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh as well.
OK, right. Thank you very much. Sophia Hagan, really good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.